Welcome back to the Who is God series. Last week we talked about God is creator. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click the annotation here to catch up. Otherwise, let's move on to the next one. God is love. God is love. Probably something that you've heard a lot. It's become sort of a Christian cliche nowadays. And my issue isn't with the phrase itself because, it's biblical. It's in 1 John chapter 4, verse 16, right? But my issue more so lies in the way that we define love. Because the way that we define love will greatly influence the way that we depict who God is. And if we don't have the proper definition, the proper view of what love is, then that will also translate to not having the proper view of who God is. So let's break down and try to understand what love is, then we can better understand who God is. So what is love? Now, love is one of those words that you can probably find various definitions of because everyone kind of has their own view and their own experience with love. And so if I were to try to define love from a biblical perspective, I would define it using 4 words: unconditional, sacrificial, just, and altruistic. Love is unconditional, meaning that there's nothing that one can do to make you love them any more or any less. Love is something that is not contingent upon someone's actions or on someone's words or on someone's behavior, but rather love is something that doesn't change no matter what. At least that's the sort of love that God has for us. God's love is not something that changes based on our behavior. There's nothing that we can do that can make God love us any more than He already does. And there's nothing that we can do to make God love us any less than He already does. God's love is unconditional. Nothing that we can do or say can change God's love for us. Love is sacrificial. Just ask any couple that's had a successful marriage or just a successful relationship in general, what made it work? I can almost guarantee you that one of their answers is going to be sacrifice. Right? You can't always expect to have things your way. You can't always expect to have what you want. There are times where you have to lay your own wants and you let your own desires to the side to benefit the relationship as a whole, to benefit this other person. Sacrifice is an essential part of a relationship, and sacrifice is an essential part of what love is. And probably the greatest demonstration of this was Jesus Christ on the cross. Christ sacrificed His throne, His place in heaven, to come down on earth, to be beaten, to be, whipped, to be, crucified on a cross, just so that we can inherit His throne. Jesus died the death that we deserved so that we can live the life that He rightly deserved. Jesus sacrificed everything so that we can have everything. And I think sometimes we kind of discredit God's sacrifice. We think, oh, well, He knew He was going to resurrect. He knew He was going to be back in heaven in 3 days or whatever. But if you really think about it, He didn't. If you read His prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane, you see that He's not thinking that, oh, I'm going to be resurrected in 3 days, so I'll be good. No, He's really in some sort of stress and pain, saying, Lord, take this away from me. I don't want to have to go through this. Even on the cross, He says, oh Lord, why have You forsaken me? Like, this is not someone who's saying, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. I'm going to die and resurrect in 3 days. No, this person is someone who views that their life is literally ending. They'll be separated from God forever, just so that these people who mocked and rejected God can have the opportunity to be with Him forever. This was not just a light-hearted sacrifice. This was literally Christ giving up everything, potentially losing His place in heaven so that we can have His spot in heaven. Love is just. And I know a lot of people don't really like this side of God, but the fact that he executes judgment and justice is actually an extension of his love. Think of it this way. When a parent has a child and that child is going the wrong direction or doing something bad, that parent, out of love, is going to correct that child, right? In some way, shape, or form, there's going to be some consequence, repercussions for their wrongdoing. They're not just going to be able to get away with anything they want just because, oh, well, I love my child. Just imagine how differently you would turn out if your parent just let you run wild and do whatever you want and there was no consequence for your actions. Now, step back and imagine how the world would be if all parents approached parenting that way and there was absolutely no consequence, no repercussions, no punishment for any wrongdoing. You're just able to get away with it because, oh, well, I love my child. How much more chaotic would this world be with that sort of mentality, with that sort of approach of love? Love demands justice because without it, well, the world would be a lot worse of a place. And lastly, love is altruistic. It doesn't seek what it can get in return. It doesn't seek, well, what's in it for me? How can I profit from this? How can I benefit from this? How is this going to make me happy? What's in it for me? But rather, love is other-centered. How can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I make your life better? How can I make your life easier? Love seeks what's best for others. Now, I know there's a lot of people who's probably been hurt or abused in the name of love. And many people who have been hurt by the church. And it's all been done in the name of God, in the name of love. But to those people, I want to say I'm sorry. And that may have not been the best representation of love. But yet, God's love is not the same as man's love. Yes, man's love may fail, but God's love is unconditional. God's love is sacrificial. God's love is altruistic. And God's love is just. God's love will never fail, and you can trust in Him. Love God, for He already loves you. How do you define love? And how do you show your love? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure that you share this video so that other people can get involved in this little conversation that we're having. Make sure you subscribe so that we can build this community up. And also, be sure to think on these things.